Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wolf Den Radio Show, featuring your host, Wolf King, Shazwa Almighty, Xbox fame, and Hades, son of Kronos. We have a wide variety of news stories to hit you with, and we have a special guest, friend of Hades, Martin Specially. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Uh, what's up, Martin? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Atheist here on Google Plus. Been active for a couple of weeks now. I don't, yeah. What would you like to know about me?
I guess your philosophical views and beliefs, I guess,
Well, I guess,
or a little bit about your background, I suppose.
well, yeah, I was raised in a pretty much secular household, if you want to call it that. There was, my parents didn't really put any, they didn't make me go to church or anything, so, and I don't actually know what my father's religious affiliation is. That's how secularly he brought me up, so. Mm.
That's cool. When did you when did you start like having having that worldview building moment in your life?
uh, Worldview building? Like, in what way do you mean?
When you decided what views like fit you as a person.
Yeah, I guess it's just been a gradual process of picking up some from various places, you know?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Hmm. All right. Hold on a second. Hades, second in command. Uh, okay. Basically, I want you to explain some stuff to him about how the show runs and stuff like that, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, you're good with that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, be back in a second.
Um, Martin. Yeah, that's cool. Martin, have you ever watched The Drunken Peasants before?
I think I've seen it. It's not really my thing that much, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same format without the kind of comedy. We basically take articles and videos that are fairly popular in the news and stuff like that, and
Okay.
basically talk about them and usually from a secular perspective or atheistic one or or however you want to call it. Yeah.
Alright. Sounds cool.
Yep,
hmm
and we're gonna get into a lot of it real soon. Okay. Now there's we're gonna get into like some clips really quick. Okay, so first one is apparently it's a fairly long one. It's apparently it's a documentary about the gay movement and how it's threatening certain people in America. Let's just wait a second. Hold on. The link.
The people is so good. Darkness is ushered into the land. Not the darkness is a threat to our freedom. I believe it is the single greatest threat to religious freedom in the United States of America today. The blatant hostility to the Christian faith, the most insidious and aggressive assault on religious freedom that we've ever seen. That is the cultural clash of our time. Homosexual activists get everything they want. It'll be nothing less than the criminalization of Christianity.
Okay, let me just pause a minute. Okay, so they're basically talking about. Okay, now if you heard that just some of that, they were basically talking about like an evil that's spreading in America, and that's the gay movement. And basically what they're saying is if gay activists get everything they want, apparently it's you're gonna be a criminal. You're gonna be like evil or something like that. It's gonna be bad to be a Christian, and it's basically their world. Basically, if your worldview isn't fully met, in terms of I want it to be this way for everyone and not just my personal belief. It's it's really a subjective persecution complex album for them in that regard. But what do you guys think? I'm curious.
So basically, it's the old giving them rights infringes on our freedom in some way.
Yeah, it's something like that. Basically, gays are treated equally and fairly. Therefore, our worldview is being persecuted. So, what do you think of that? And I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I would want them to actually explain or show how homosexuals being allowed the right to marry infringes any way on their rights or harms them in a negative way or anything like that, to be honest. You know. So I mean, I really don't know at all. You know, but no, yeah. So I mean, it would need to be demonstrated. It would need to be even just explained as to why it's something that sort of infringes on their rights. You know, it's yeah, pretty much that.
I get what you're saying there. Yeah, it's just incredibly stupid that these Christians basically already rule our country, and then they just decide, oh yeah, we should get to rule more, so all of our stupid petty beliefs should be law.
That's very settling interested. What's up? Okay, you guys gave your views?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just said they need to actually demonstrate or even just explain in a basic sense of how it actually infringes on their. I was listening to it a little bit earlier. Their freedom of speech that we're talking about. They need to explain or not even demonstrate how that would happen. It seems kind of a little bit like a slippery slope fallacy there as well, but just explain how allowing homosexuals the basic right or the same right as heterosexuals in the sense of to marry, would it be infringing on their rights or their freedom of speech? It's even funny just
apparently like just infringing on their worldview, but that's only like one bit of it. Like let's continue. I'll turn it up if it's lacking. Hold on.
I'm Janet Porter. I was in the dark about the radical agenda that silenced the truth, but after years of research and observation, there is no longer any doubt. As I wrote in the criminalization of Christianity, if they can silence the truth, they will silence the gospel. This film is to expose the assault on our freedom and shed some light on how we can use the freedom we have left. What kind of freedom of speech do we have if a person who expresses a biblical viewpoint about marriage is told they can't open their businesses in a location? And so they say in San Antonio, oh, if you believe that homosexual marriage is a bad deal, we're not even going to let you go up to office here. We're not going to let you have your right of conscience. We're not going to let you believe things other than what we tell you to believe. They're getting the lines from the media, they're getting the lines from education, they're getting the lines from politicians, and even theologians. So you know this is the gay gene. Really? Well, name it for me. Number it. Because if there's a gene that's identifying for homosexuality, would have a name, would have a number, we know who the doctor was at the time.
Okay, basically now as the clip continues, okay, they're basically talking about like just the implications of treating gays equally. Okay, basically, so if gays are treated equally, then you have to basically treat them as equal customers, and if you have a business, otherwise you are discriminating on which is against business ethics typically in open societies in Western civilization, and typically and typically with the idea of the the gay thing being natural. Yeah, it has like the phenomenon of homosexual acts have actually been seen in like various other species. So I mean, it's not necessarily people. It's not like people choose this. I mean, like can you choose your skin color? I mean, it's the same thing. But what do you guys think?
Well, from the business standpoint, I kind of think that as long as it's not a necessary thing, they should just be allowed to do whatever they want. Because if like there was a cake shop that refused to make a cake for a homosexual couple, and personally, I think they should just be able to do whatever they want, and then let the people hear about that, and the people will put them out of business by stopping, by no longer patronizing them. I mean, if that's what they want. I kind of
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
like, I kind
yeah,
of feel like refusing service to people like that is shooting yourself in the foot politically.
right. I mean, this does come into sort of politics quite a bit here. And I mean, when you open the society we live in, when you open something up to the public, you actually have to conform to certain rules. And if you're going to discriminate based on race or sex or any of these types of things, there's going to be consequences, right? You're benefiting off the public. You're a public company, or you're a company that sells to the public, and therefore there are certain rules in the type of society that we live in. So and it really, I don't really see it as anything that's too strict, to be honest. You can't discriminate based on these types of things, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what freedom has actually been taken away? Like your freedom to discriminate based on sexual orientation. I mean, nothing's actually been impacted. I mean, if anything, it's more or less human rights has been expanded towards like a group of people, that reduces that particular segregation just based on sexual orientation, and it's a good thing that helps, advances it. But let's continue on with this clip. Hold on a second.
So you believe I'm being intolerant because I believe the Bible says it. Are you not being intolerant?
I don't know. I feel like we more or less covered this. Yeah, screw this. Okay. Yeah. Let's. Okay. Now, Eddie, so you know about this. We're gonna talk about like the Glenn Beck thing. He said.
Sure.
How do we live with our own families? We are living in the 1930s all over again. One of those things that I know God told me, you decide who your family is. You decide who your family is going to be. So when they do come for people, you decide now, am I going to turn my eyes from it? Or will I say, you take him, you take me too? That seems insane 8 years ago. Insane.
Okay, so he starts off the talk by saying, okay, we're living in the 1930s. Now we all know, of course, what occurred during the 1930s. Of course, he's he's going to Godwin's law and stuff like that, and he's he's making it seem like an appeal to emotion. He's evoking God and everything like that. But I'm just saying, not a good start. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, Glenn Beck's just a complete tool to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how can he sort of compare, or how he's sort of being. I don't know if he's trying to say that he's being oppressed, or Christians are being oppressed, or or I really am at a loss as to why he's literally in tears.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, he's batshit. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, it's a combination of, like, I mean, there's a little bit. I mean, there's crazy in there, but he knows on some level that it's pretend. He just builds it up. He's making obvious appeals to emotion. He knows that
right.
shit. But
I mean,
okay.
yeah, it's a country that is majority Christian. It's not like there's some sort of fringe group that is generally disliked by society and sort of frowned upon and oh wait, that's atheist in America.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, but it's not like that. It's a majority stance. The majority of people in America are Christian, and yeah, so I find it almost laughable to say, I find it humorous to say that Christians are sort of oppressed in America.
But let's continue on with the clip. Hold on a second.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that the Nazi analogy is kind of appropriate for this. Only he doesn't realize that the Christians are the Nazis in this analogy.
Yeah, right.
What was the joke? Tiffany Seagull. She's my executive producer on this program, and she runs all the Redneck programs and everything else. And 8 years ago, we used to sit in the office and we would talk about things with them. And it was almost half a joke. Look, it comes to the Christians first, you hide me. It comes to the Jews, I hide you. Okay? If you got the both of us, then like that. But it used to be kind of that joke. In the last few weeks, unspoken, I believe we have looked at each other, and she has said to me, it's really getting scary. She's Jewish. That comes with her first. It is getting scary. I promise you, we're living in the 1930s, and it's going to sweep the entire globe. Pray for your family to wake up. Pray for you to be strong enough to stand. Just go for it. Just go for it.
Okay. I don't even know what that was. What that really was about. To be honest with you, I just. Okay. He started off. He started off with an appeal with invoking Godwin's law and appeal to emotion, religious persecution. They're gonna come for the Jews. They're gonna come for the Christians. Pray for your family and be strong. I mean, like, this is just the mindless rhetoric that he goes off from, like, all the time. Like, oh, it's the end of the world. Grab everyone. It's I mean, this is just stick. I mean, note that he doesn't have any real facts and figures that actually, provide viable solutions to society. He just fear mongers and demagogues because that's his shtick. He doesn't know anything else but to speak that. Even though it's the same toxic venom that got him kicked off of Fox News. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he is just full of shit. There's just no other way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the video earlier, and he basically talks about that story of how him and his co-worker made a joke about how eventually they'll be coming for him and for Christians, the Jews. First of all, who is he talking about? The government or? Yeah, I'm confused. Not once in the video did I actually hear a kind of reason or why or how this is happening or what has led him to the conclusion or his kind of what has led to his assertions or anything backed up. It's usually preaching to the choir or preaching or talking to people that already sort of agree with him. I mean, so he doesn't really have to explain what has led him to assert such asinine claims or whatever about reality,
Yeah, honestly, you know, when we're dealing with people like that, you know, who don't, I mean, his rhetoric specializes in particularly, oh yeah, you know, the God and country and stuff like that, you know, family and all this, and it's really it really doesn't go far beyond that. But mm, that being said, we're actually moving forward. Let's see. Okay, so there is you know, there is a particular story going on about about this one Christian network. Let's see, very famous one, the TBN. They're facing a lawsuit right now. Hold on, I'm just gonna share the link with both of you guys right now, so you could read along. Okay. Okay. Okay, you guys got it?
Yep, I've got it.
Alright, let's see. Yep. These people are all about charity, but the only charity they care about is themselves.
Yep, I'm gonna read it off right quick. Let's see. Okay, lawsuit accuses televangelist Giant of threatening whistleblowers, funneling millions to personal accounts. The Trinity Broadcasting Network, or TBN, is facing a lawsuit from its founder's granddaughter, who claimed in a court filing last week that she and her husband were threatening for trying to expose a major financial scandal at the televangelist network. The granddaughter has previously alleged that TBN was engaged in multiple cover-ups of sexual and criminal scandals and has threatened whistleblowers. Paul Crouch, the network's late founder, once bragged on air that God will kill whoever stands up against TBN. She also claims that TBN intimidated whistleblowers, including herself. The suit describes one incident in which Matthew Crouch, a TBN host and vice president, allegedly began tapping the firearm he had brought to a meeting and asked plaintiff Brittany Copper what she thought would happen when she wrote a memo to the board critical of defendant Matthew Crouch's financial improprieties. Defendant Matthew Crouch continued tapping the gun he was holding to ensure that plaintiff Brittany Copper recognized the lethal threat being made. Defendant Trinity Broadcasting purports to be the world's largest Christian broadcasting network. Defendant Christian Broadcasting is a non-profit corporation that was yada 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 yada. The nature of these illegal activities involved the systematic diversion of defendant Trinity Broadcasting's charitable assets through unlawful distributions to defendant Trinity Broadcasting's directors through numerous channels. The magnitude of these unlawful and related financial schemes uncovered by or disclosed to plaintiff Brittany Copper is on the order of $100 million. So let me just give you guys the basic layman's terms of this. They were basically they're basically just embezzling the money, just taking it out through that nonprofit. You know, they weren't supposed to be like getting paid for this, but you know, they're basically just using it to just steal money from people. Now, I mean, and they just got rich off this. You know, they just made a huge merchandising process by which they weren't giving any merchandise away, just essentially just robbing people. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Honestly, just the fact that they could actually talk about this, they could actually, you know, use religion as like just like a tool for moral authority, to which they feel the need to preach to other people about just about like God's way and His laws and morality and all this stuff. But then they get caught doing this. I mean, it's no wonder that in this generation, it's the most secular generation there ever was.
And growing as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like just the idea that you can't be moral without belief in a deity has been overall destroyed by not just the fact that just secular moral philosophy, rational discussion, and the fact that you got primal morality with just like evolutionary ethics and the like that, but also just these scandals that we see all around. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you go ahead, Martin.
It just, yeah, it always just seems that the people who are claiming to be the most moral are the most underhanded. It seems that way.
Yeah, I'll agree with. Yeah, I agree with both. What you said, what both of you guys said. I find it rather kind of ironic or hypocritical that they'd do such a thing. Not that surprised, to be honest. Not that surprised, in all honesty. Not that surprised at all.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Hold on, let me see if there's anything else. I mean, because this is actually just insane. Just um yeah, I mean, they basically just like embezzle just like millions of dollars.
Wow.
Just doing this, and really, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly, George Carlin, he was really telling the truth with that whole with that bullshit story metaphor. The church takes in billions of dollars, pays no taxes. I mean, when you don't have to write a bullshit story no better. I mean, and it's basically just based on the idea that there's an invisible man living in the sky with rules that if you don't follow, you're just gonna burn for all eternity, and you're not gonna get his reward of worshiping him forever in heaven. I mean,
Yeah.
you put that stuff on paper, in a capitalist society, and you got an instant mind machine that you can't be beat. I mean, it's obviously corruptible, and it is.
Right. Mhm.
Mm. All right. Well, that being said, we're moving on. We're hitting the 5:30 mark. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I remember hearing this little ink going along about this story about this UK show, the Big Questions. I don't know if Hades is familiar with it, but it's actually pretty interesting. I've
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
I've actually caught a few clips of it, and I think this particular one is it's fairly interesting. It's about Christian fundamentalists getting into something of a debate between a secular humanist, and I just think it's interesting just the exchange. Like let's just hear some stuff about it. And play a link.
Humanist weddings. I mean, you're saying you thought they were demonic. I do. Yeah, I do think they're entirely demonic. See, it goes back to the origins of humanism. Humanism is the cancer of Thanksgiving. It is the devil's PR. It is a first-class ticket to the sea of randomness and debauchery. Of every form. The reason is no. The great fear of the spirit I hope people are appreciative of the signs of awareness.
Okay, yeah. So it started off as okay. He was saying humanist weddings were like I believe evil or satanic or something like that, and humanism is the cancer of Thanksgiving, and it's the devil's piat and stuff like that. So so obviously, yeah, he's coming off of a very like religious right wing viewpoint. So obviously, any viewpoint that disagrees with him is obviously not gonna fit too well. What do you guys think? Hello.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I still can't hear like anything when you're playing those clips. It sounds kind of like it's coming through a tin can.
Yeah, I honestly need to get my gear upgraded, but you know. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I watched the start of that. It's pretty crazy, his claims that he was making. But again, they're from a religious perspective, so what do you expect on that, to be honest?
Right. Okay, let's just continue the clip.
The issue with humanism is that it tries to knock God off the throne. And when you look at the Bible talks about Lucifer, whose name is the devil. And his attempt was to ascend to the Most High and sit on both sides of the wall and basically replace God. And it's the same spirit, the same mindset. Well, exactly. In Scotland, it has most the institution of marriage. You probably won't like this, but there's a pagan wedding and there's a Christian wedding. In fact, what is humanism? Well, if we're going to go to one reasonably broadcast version, might as well travel first class. And I think that humanism is, in a genuine sense, more a first class worldview than it's been depicted. Humanism is a non-religious worldview that, instead of looking to revelation or authority, we look to reason and evidence to understand the universe. Instead of looking to moral rules that come from outside human beings, we look to other human beings to generate values in the here and now, and also to generate meaning in our life. Instead of looking externally for meaning, to value and sanctions to existence. So having a humanist view is that men and women in the course of our lives create the same meaning together by giving our lives purpose and sense of fulfillment. Now, I think that is a very satisfying worldview, a worldview that has made a massive contribution to human progress and achievement. It's a worldview that is held by a very large number of people in Britain, over a third in the human world. By many people, just the worldview people would not call themselves. Yeah, but I don't know that. I think that's very interesting. I mean, about 40% of people in Britain share those attitudes and beliefs and values, but only about 5% of people call themselves humanists. It's about the same number. Hold on, I disagree. I don't agree with the survey results of the survey. And that view, which has made that powerful contribution to human well-being. Christianity nowadays, for example, needs to sit here politely listening to being called nonsense with the world rather than trying to interrupt somebody. Is, you know, and no one has Sunday morning, is worthy of respect. Now, when it comes to areas of our public common life, like what we learn about in school, it is right that we should learn about religion to respect other people's points of view, as I would always do, you would not. But if we're learning about that, we should also learn about human views. That's my opinion.
Okay, yeah, so basically they had a humanist respond to it, and he accurately gave just an accurate definition on what humanism was. It is it's a positive non-religious philosophy that focuses on the reason for inquiry and the human compassion of human beings, and
Right.
and just the understanding that humans have the right and responsibility to give meaning and shape to their own lives. So I mean, that sort of is the philosophy that has more or less built the foundation of Western civilization, and given us the rights and freedoms that we enjoy within within modern society right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's it also gives that basis of equality for not just the religious but of the non-religious, and that works. It's actually positive. But what do you guys think? Hayes, what about you first?
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. No, I do agree. I mean, it's too often seen as something that is kind of anti-religion, when it's actually rather accepting of religion, and it's just pretty much respecting people's beliefs, but not getting the fundamental kind of not basing the government and stuff fundamentally on religion or this kind of concept, rather based on evidence and proven, so on and so forth. So too often it's seen as synonymous with anti-religion, or which it isn't. This Christian fundamentalist guy went even so far as to say that it's pretty much the devil. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that. I think it's too often seen as something it's actually not. Which surprise, surprise, Christians are, or a bunch of Christians are misrepresenting what something is, and in this case, humanism. But yeah, I'll let Martin go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that, humanism is really accepting. I kind of think that, well, in America at least, the government needs to decouple from the church a bit more than it already has. Because, like in marriage, in any case, like we should be using different words because they are different things. Marriage in the church is different from marriage in the state.
Right.
So, yeah, the church should not be able to influence who's able to become married.
Yeah, and also just just the idea of like equality actually comes into the equation when we're talking about democracy and everyone getting like a fair view as as long as they have like a fair equal chance to speak their minds and stuff like that without pushing stuff on other ones in a real forceful way. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we're free. I mean, the religious are free to believe whatever they want, and I'm free to disagree and think it's fucking bullshit. And I take advantage of that. I'm happy to have that, and I'm going to defend that to the end because that is just the basis of what builds our society. But that's being said, we're moving on. Okay, another link story. All right, popping in the link right now in the side chat. Shit, hold on a second. All right, and we have it. There we go. You guys see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw this video already.
Yeah. Iraq veterans, amazing speech. The real terrorist was me. Yeah, Mike Preisner is a true American hero, and the speech he gave when he came back from Iraq proves it. When Springer came back from Iraq in 2008, he began serving his country in a very different way. He joined the anti-war movement. He spoke out against the Iraq war publicly, calling it what it is, a war that benefited no one except billionaires. Thousands of United States soldiers and more than 1 million Iraqi citizens died so that 1% could make money. In 2008, Springer helped create the anti-war organization called March Forward. The group's website says March Forward was formed because of the pressing issues facing veterans and service members, the forced participation in these horrible imperialist wars, as well as economic hardship, sexism, racism, homophobia, inadequate care, and a lack of access to resources before, during, and after military service. These issues can only be resolved through the grassroots organizing and unified action by veterans and service members in alliance with others across the country. Unions, civil rights and anti-war organizations, and citizens and youth activists. These issues affect working-class veterans and service members and all people in the United States who do not profit from the Pentagon's wars. Due to the new film, American Sniper, the right wing has decided to turn the late Chris Kyle into some sort of idol to the average Fox News viewer. The film and the controversy it has wrought has sparked unabashed racism and blinded nationalism amongst many Americans. I think the speech Springer gave at a convention in 2008 is needed as a reminder of what a real hero sounds like. Our real enemies are not those living in a distant land whose names or policies we do not understand. The real enemy is a system that wages war when it's profitable, the CEOs who lay us off our jobs when it's profitable, the insurance companies who deny us health care when it's profitable, the banks who take away our homes when it's profitable. Our enemies are not several hundred thousands away. They are right here in front of us. And I think that this article, honestly, it it speaks the truth. And honestly, this real life veteran is honestly speaking the truth. That movie is it's trying to glorify being a war hero and actually serving your country, and there's no shame in that, but only when it's actually justified. We all understand that the war in Iraq was just was servicing capitalist desires. We all know that Afghanistan was justified, but not Iraq. And we recognize that there is a flawed system. I mean, no one's against the truth, but if it's only to serve like economic gains rather than actually defending the rights and values of the country, then we have some we have some corruption on our hands. But what do you guys think? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is a ton of when you actually look into it, you can understand that the incentive or the motive for these types of corporations or the rich or whatever. I mean, for instance, prison and jail is quite a lucrative thing, and so when you have that kind of incentive there, that's when these things start happening. When there's money to be made from something. But so yeah, I totally agree with what this man has done, and I back him 100%.
Yeah, I don't think the soldier himself was the terrorist. I think he was more the weapon used, because that's the kind of training they go through to just unquestionably follow out their orders and not think about, and even if they are thinking about it, still carry them out. It's the people who are giving him the orders. Those are the terrorists.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't even call him a terrorist. I would call him more of a pawn, like a chess game type thing. I mean, because it's not like he had knowledge of this, prior to, going into action of what he was doing. But yeah. Yeah, I honestly, and you know what gets me. You guys know Fox News. They honestly do this from time to time, where they glorify serving in battle and stuff like that. But they never talk about actually taking care of the veterans when they get back. It's always oh yeah, serve, go over there. But when you come back, you're nobody again, right? I mean, like that. They never talk about taking care of these guys.
Right. I mean, that's why
because
the
effects on them are terrible.
Yeah, that's why there's a 25, even more than 25% of homeless people are veterans. So that definitely shows that your point, an extension to your point there, Wolf.
Yeah, it's kind of like these people who watched Starship Troopers and didn't realize it was a satire.
Right.
Yep. I mean, it's only God and country. Serving your serving be all you can be. Only up until an extent. When it serves a purpose. I mean, I'm not against it. I have a good friend, Foxhole Atheist, who actually served in the military. And actually, he's had a good life. Honorable and all this, but when not every soldier's experience is exactly the same. Some actually come out really good, but if the reason is unjustified, and if everyone's not being taken care of in the process, then there's a flaw in there that has to be reasonably reformed. But yeah, that being said, we're moving on. Hold on a second. Let's see what else we got down the. I don't know. Okay, you guys know Russell Brand, funny English guy, right?
Yeah, I'm not actually that keen on him. Some of what he says I do agree with, but
I mean, you know,
Familiar with him?
yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of funny, crazy haired dude, like something of an actor. Okay, now recently Stephen Fry took part in an interview, right? And he gave a real response to a Catholic priest on atheism, and Russell Brand disagrees, and so he made a little video response on it, and we're just gonna listen to a clip about it and just to scrutinize it, I guess. Let's see. Okay, pulling it up.
In a way, what Fry is talking about, in my opinion, is literalism, a literal interpretation of doctrine. In this case, because it's an Irish Catholic interview, a Dave Burns, he's talking about a literal translation of the Gospel. And other than that, mentioning some phenomena in nature, like burrowing insects and that, talking entirely about human behaviour and human value systems. Now, Joseph Campbell, the cultural mythologist, said all religions are true in that the metaphor is true. So what Campbell's saying there is that religion is an attempt to explain the unknowable, in the same way that science is an attempt to explain the unknowable. Science can explain the mechanics of the universe and can explain the mechanics of biology and anatomy, but can it ever explain the why? The answer is no. It can never explain why this is happening. What we really want to know is there a reason for us being here? And what is the nature of the universe? What is the nature of our consciousness? This is an interesting question.
Okay, now before the video gets any further, yeah, he was talking about just to be clear, what Stephen Fry was originally responding to is I believe if a deity exists, would he ever feel the need to worship him? And he gave something in relation to the problem of evil as his response, and it was a good response. Now, what Russell is mentioning, he's talking about he's talking about like science and religion, and he's also explaining he's also bringing philosophy, just three different aspects and stuff like that, and the issue of purpose. Now, just with regard to just explaining, the natural world and everything, and and religion explaining that things supernatural through like faith, prayer, and revelation and stuff. You're talking about two different aspects, of course. But like the whole purpose thing, it's more of a subjective thing, and it would depend on who you're talking to. But yeah, that's mixing different viewpoints and stuff like that can get problematic when trying to make a point. What you guys think?
Yeah, I think trying to say why is just bullshit. There doesn't have to be a why.
Right. I mean, yeah, I was talking to me and Martin were actually talking about this earlier. I mean, the definition of why is for what reason or purpose, right? And I don't understand how. I mean, there has to be some kind of mind for there to be an actual purpose or reason for something to happen. I mean, what was the universe's purpose for doing what it did or whatever? It's such a silly question in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, you're when you do that, you're going into philosophical in philosophical terms, and it like I said, it really depends on like what you're talking about, and in what particular context, but we're gonna continue in it because it's gonna get really really fucked in a second. Hold on.
Biocentrism by someone called Robert Lanza. Here he tackles the idea of creation and addresses the flaws, in the same way Stephen Fry is addressing the flaws in Christian doctrine. Robert Lanza here addresses the flaws in received physics. In the last few decades, there's been considerable discussion of a basic paradox in the construction of the universe as we know it. For example, if the Big Bang had been 1 part in a million more powerful, it would have rushed out too fast for the galaxy and life to develop. If the strong nuclear force would decrease to 2%, atomic nuclei wouldn't hold together, and plain vanilla hydrogen would be the only kind of atom in the universe. If the gravitational force were decreased by just a hair, stars, including the sun, would not ignite. These are three of more than 200 physical parameters within the solar system and universe, so exact that it strains credulity to propose that they are random, even if that's exactly what standard contemporary physics broadly suggests. Terence McKenna, a kind of wacky shaman fella, said that the perspective of contemporary science is give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest.
Okay, what's up, ladies? You had something to say?
Yeah, I was just to say this sounds like the intelligent design argument, or the argument from kind of unlikeliness, or I don't know what you call it. Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, it's fine. It's definitely fine tuning.
Yeah, fine tuning argument. Sorry, that's what it's called. Yeah, you know, or if it was my view of the chances of it happening, it's so unlikely that it couldn't have happened. You know, if it was just 2 degrees, or I've heard this as well. Like if the sun was just positioned 2 degrees more further back from us, then we wouldn't be able to live, or you know. Yeah, so just wanted to point that out. Sorry, you can continue if you want, Wolf.
No, I mean, honestly, you know, you hit the hammer, you know, right on the head there. Yeah, that was fine tuning, and with a little itty bitty mix of Deepak Chopra in there, because he brought up biocentrism by Robert Lanza. And that's basically let's see, shit. It's basically life creates the universe, not the universe creates life, and that you know, it's only when we perceive reality through our like let's say through our view or perception or midichlorians or whatever that the universe comes alive or whatever. It's basically biology is like the centerpiece of and not physics. And you know, it's completely ass backwards. You know, the universe is not fine-tuned for us. We are fine-tuned to the universe. That is how the universe self-organized us through the various particles and atoms and you know and cells and DNA, you know, to produce us, you know, through like millions of years of cosmic evolution, biological evolution. That's how it works. You know, it doesn't. I mean, but let's keep going with it. Let's see.
That free miracle being that the universe sprang into being with these exact rules that are required for life and consciousness to exist. I suppose what Christianity and Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and Jainism and Buddhism are trying to do is make sense of our position, our perspective as awake, conscious, sentient beings within the infinite. For me, as a person who believes in God, my understanding of God is this, that my consciousness emanates from a perspective, and it passes through endless filters, the filters of the senses, the subjective filters of the senses, and of my own biography. This is good, this is bad, this is wrong, oh, I want that, I don't want that. But behind all of that, there is an awakening.
Hold on. Shit. Oh yeah, I get. Yeah, that's it.
I've got something to sound out real quick if you want.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that he's pretty much changed the definition of God and defined it as consciousness, which is pretty much this kind of spiritual kind of idea. You know, God's kind of a sort of like your consciousness or your spirituality, which when we can clearly see that what Stephen was talking about wasn't consciousness, and his understanding of God, and especially what the presenter was asking him, was a God which is omniscient and omnipotent, not some kind of spiritual mumbo jumbo jargon or kind of this kind of this wordplay of it, which is that's just my opinion on that.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're accurate. It's just that you're missing a few words. Like I'm telling you, like, you know, it's honestly coming from a subjective experience. Like, yeah, he's invoking consciousness. You know, he's talking he's talking like the same Chopra script, and like the energy passes through you and me and all that stuff. And look, I get it. You know, we've all watched Carl Sagan's Cosmos. You know, it's awesome as hell. we are the way the cosmos knows itself. That's awesome. But when you try to like pervert that with it's consciousness. We life creates the universe and all that stuff. God is energy and all this, and it gets really subjective and sloppy, and sure, if you want to like say that's my view of spirituality. It's new age in that nature. Fine, but you're kind of going off at a very anecdotal, personal experience type thing that really, while it has a lot of meaning and emphasis for you, that might not have the same meaning and emphasis to the next person or to your friend or someone else or to me or whoever. I mean, it really, honestly, I don't really see how it actually makes a case against what Stephen probably had to say. But what you think, Martin?
What Russell was saying, it betrays the fundamental arrogance of at least Christianity. He's just talking about how we're the most important things in the universe. It's so self-centered.
I mean, actually, it more or less, okay, normally I don't like talking about the fundy crowd around here, but yeah, true dipshits, true empiricism. Let me not, let me not break his balls just yet. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, it's like he had a video up at the air, right, about how intelligent design won't be stopped, by critics and stuff like that, and that they'll go with the arguments that best fit their belief systems, like Kalam, for example, like universe has a cause or whatever. So they're gonna go with arguments like that or ID or whatever, argument from design, and it's like. Okay, yeah, that's fine, but here's the thing: if it's not empirical in nature, if you can't really, if there's no real way to actually verify that, then it ultimately becomes really subjective, and it's like that one time with Ben Stein, when he asked Richard Dawkins, what's the best way to account for design? Well, maybe if some other might see the life on there, and they jumped on that instantly. I mean, and we don't know enough about the universe to even to know if there's other life. That's just that's just the hypothesis that we're still looking into. But but they're willing to jump on it, just to fit their view. And it's like if it's just a gap that they could fill, it'll be like of this mind or some consciousness or prime mover or whatever.
Yeah, that example of Ben Stein with Christopher Hitchens is just a huge straw man because he's asking about a hypothetical and then taking his answer as his actual view.
Yeah, I mean, the reason they did that is out of desperation. Like, this is the best naturalistic way to account for this. Let's stick it to him and say this is the right one. It was honestly just a bit of a progression. It was really a desperate projection to try and to validate it in some way, and it was really dishonest. But when you're dealing with people who have ideas that are just anti-science, just in its nature, that they're willing to do very dishonest and say very dishonest things just to support it. Yeah, but anyway, what do you guys think about that whole like Deepak Chopra thing?
Oh, I've heard it from Russell before. He's even I'll try and find this video for you later on. But he even had this video of saying how limited our knowledge of certain things are, so therefore we can't instantly discredit or count out certain things. So therefore, there is such thing as this kind of spirituality type of stuff, and that to me seems just argument from ignorance, right? We don't really know about certain things, therefore, some kind of spiritual type of woo-woo, or not necessarily woo-woo, but you understand what I'm saying. But no, there's so many fallacies as well in what he was saying. I mean, I'm just trying to list a few, but the main thing there, the problem that I had is the fact of what actually Stephen was saying, right? So he was asked that if he were to approach God at the pearly gates or whatever, what would he say? What would he say to God? And it's a very reasonable question to ask God about all this suffering. You know, it's a very reasonable question. And it wasn't an argument to disprove God. It was a hypothetical situation, hypothesis, or just type of a thought experiment, and of what questions would you ask God, or what would you say to get in, or what would you ask God? And he answered very well. Very, very reasonable, justified questions to ask an all-loving God. Why have you made insects that burrow, that their sole purpose is to burrow into the eyes of children and blind them? That's one of the questions he asked. Very reasonable question. If you want an all-loving, all-powerful God, why would you allow such a thing? So, yeah.
Well, bugs are imperfect, so I mean, they have to, of course.
Right, but when you've got an omnipotent, omniscient being, all-loving, all-powerful being behind it, why would you allow such animals to be alive? Why would you create such animals where their sole purpose or goal is to pretty much, do that?
Well, he works in mysterious ways.
Well, if I could just play devil's advocate for a second.
And I know it's a cop, all right.
The argument for like the burrowing insects and everything is probably that those didn't exist until original sin. So they're man's fault.
Right, yeah, but yeah, that is the answer.
Yeah. Or yeah. Of course, it's man's fault. It's not natural selection, of course not. I mean, we're not talking about parasites that that feed off of larger living organisms, more complex than them. No.
But no, those are the two questions to that. But it's a very reasonable question to ask God. Very reasonable question. So
actually, jokes on them, because if they use natural selection against us, then that might that might actually help. But no, science, it's evil. It makes you learn stuff. But I just need to catch up, seriously. I mean, I'm just saying, like that probably like help them out. That'd be close to it anyway. Just in my view. But I think that's the end of the show. I like to thank Martin for coming on. You want to come back on, man? We'll grant you a link and stuff like that. Hades, dude. Next time, if you have friends, just let me know, and I'll share a link with them, man.
Yeah, okay. Thanks as always, mate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Wolf Dance Radio. We're signing out. Later.